Hello. So, got a lot done. It's actually not that much, but it looks like a lot. Put the new body mount bushings in, and they came with their little instructions of where things are supposed to go. But every one of these, they came like this, but every one of them, you gotta look close because they were all on the wrong bolt or whatever. And there's numbers. If you're looking, there's numbers stamped in them under here. They're black, you don't see them, but then it helps you figure out what goes where. And then obviously that's for the front. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty simple, just follow the directions. But the rotisserie is gone, and putting the front end under here is fairly easy. I just put it on rollers, rolled it back on my lift. Get down here and I'll show you. So I got the body on the lift, and the frame goes, once you get the tip of the frame back on there, it'll just slide on back, and then you can put the bolts in there. And this one looks right. That's what the instructions said to do, so that's what I did. It's a little different than the original stuff, but she's in. Now what I have to do, and there's just nothing to that. I mean, it's 4 bolts and it slides in and out. Next thing I'll have to do is springs, rear end, and then she will look like a car again, except for the Chevy wheels. That's all I had to roll it around on. That's it. Quick and easy. Well, it wasn't quick and easy. Had Tammy out here helping me, and got that slid into place pretty well. And the brake booster thing, probably won't hear anything for a day or two. You post on Facebook or someplace that you're looking for it, and you get 20, go to Classic, go to the parts place, go, I've done all that. I've looked at them. They're not there. One guy wants to just keep, he don't want to be wrong, keeps telling me they got them, but they have one, a 9-inch booster, but it doesn't have the brackets, so you're supposed to use your old brackets, which I don't have. The studs on the front that mount the master are too long. You got to cut them, and then you got to elongate hose. Well, I can make anything work. But my question, and I was looking for an original or a remanufactured original. Still may get mine back. I don't know. I'll go down and freaking argue with them over some stupid shit, see what they're going to do. But that's it. Work on the rear end and the brakes and all that kind of fun stuff, and we'll see if we can get that put in here pretty quick. Bye. Thought I would show you this front one. That seems to throw everybody off the most. This is what the instructions say. Washer on the bottom, washer, and then that lets the radiator support get pinched between rubber and is isolated. And I guess that's metal to metal to make it hold tight. And that's that. So, I'm not gonna say, it's all included in the instructions. If all else fails, I know you're dudes and you don't want to read the instructions, but I'll put them on here just in case. You can screenshot that. That's position 1, 2, and 3. And just so you've got it, that shows you the sizes of everything. Shot. Okay. Now bye. Okay. So rear end's all done. Finished that up last video. Gonna put the drive shaft in. Got new, good USA made universals and everything. Had to get a new yoke. Mine was really scored up across here. Like I say, it was in bad shape, and so I put new seals, basically rebuilt the whole transmission. Yeah, there's how rough that thing was. So, pretty bad shape, got a new one. And putting the universals in, pretty straightforward. Clean it, straight it, press them in. You've probably done that. If you haven't, 1,000 videos out there. But one thing you don't see much of is this. So the new universal came with, well, one of them had both. One of them had thick keepers, and the originals were thicker. You can see that. It wasn't just the gunk on them. I had a clean one in here, but it was thicker. And I actually put the universals on, pulled them off. For some strange reason, this end with the yoke, I thought I was just going to have to use the thin keepers, but they flopped around and would let the yoke shift side to side. Again, we're talking like 2, 3, 4 thousandths. The only difference between, and I'll just call it 10 thousandths. Let's say the thick ones are 10 thousandths, the small ones are 5. And so they're close to double thickness. Not quite. But when I put the thin ones on, it wouldn't go in. The thick ones were almost too thick. And years past, I had ran into issue where I went ahead and shaved some off of them just to get them in. But it's probably because one took a thin one or whatever. But the point I was going to make was double check that when you're putting these things together. Once you press these in, you know, like here in the clamp, once you get them pressed in, you have to put a cup on either side so you can center that universal in there. And because if you don't have, like right there, you can see just a hair of the cap showing. Same thing over here, a little bit of the cap. Because I've got the cap pressed, and the reason I did that was to really compress that cap to cap as much as I could, because it was, trying to get focused, it was tight even getting the keeper in there, and that's the small one. So on the rear end, where it goes into the pinion, it only had room for the small ones, and it's a different universal. It's the same universal. I had different manufacturers because I got a nice new one when I did the transmission. And when you're looking at those, some of the caps are a little taller. So I think that's why, I mean, overall the dimensions are the same, but it's where they cut the groove in the universal for the keeper to go. It was taller on one side, so it would let you put a thicker one in. Either way, you just got to watch what you're doing. Make sure it goes in there very tight. On this end, it was still just a little slop, and I've got the big ones in there. But in the book, if I've got it over here, it'll actually tell you. And I'm assuming that's seating rings to get it all in there. Now, some of these used internal rings like the ones I've got. Some of them use the externals that would clip on the top there. But what that, yeah, like that one's showing, that's an external snap ring, goes on top. The ones we've got on here clip around the groove and hold it in. But it doesn't say why that for, it just says seats it. So because I had just a little bit of length there, I just hammered that. 2 good strikes with a hammer here and here. It seemed to close it a little. And then with the thick ones, it was very tight putting it in. Do what you can do. That seemed to work. That's better than having that universal flopping around. So all I'm gonna do now is crawl under, slip these things in, and then I'll figure out what's going on next. Okay, hopefully I can get these in. On the brakes, one thing you've got is these little anti-rattle clips. They go in. You can see it right there. So apparently they go in, snap over, and then hold it. So this is on, would be with the caliper the way it is, this would be that way, holding that from behind like that. At least that's what it seems to be what it's showing there. Because it'll go both ways. Not sure it makes a difference. I'm having to mess with these because they're very tight, so I'm having to go back in. We've shown that before, how to turn this. It'll ratchet around till you get the arm very close right there. Spring goes in there. So anyway, let's see if I can put these together. Okay, brake lines are all in. This was a little tough to get the pins in because, I mean, it was very tight. I can barely even turn it now, but that's as far as it can go. And there's the little hard to find brass pieces. And then everything just clips in here, clips there, wraps around the front. There's a little clip on the front of the pumpkin. And you can see the routing right there, over the back, across to the T-bar. An odd thing is on this one, it's got a place here to actually mount this, but for some reason, they got a little bracket that moves it over. Don't know why, but then that, so this loop goes forward into the caliper. It's on the driver's side, passenger side, loops back. And you can see it there too. Can I fold it? Oh yeah, I can do it. So it loops back on that side, and then on this side, it loops to the front. So I'm going to look at what other pieces I've got. I got to switch out some nuts on the emergency brake thing. And I don't know, I got to look at, see what pieces and parts I've got here, and we'll start looking at that. I do have the booster. I'll pull that out here in just a second. Okay, gonna kind of lead into something now because everything's kind of gotten disorganized. Got the brake booster back, and it is new. I mean, they redid everything, but they put basically just a gray enamel paint on it, which, you know, is not going to hold up to any brake spillage at all. So I went ahead and wiped all that off with lacquer thinner, taped everything up. I'm going to spray this with epoxy because, like I said, the epoxy, it's black. These things should have been gold cad, but I don't want the gold cad. So the satin black epoxy will look good, and if you spill anything on it, you can wipe it off. Obviously, this looks gray now, but it was a darker gray, and this is just down to metal now. So anyway, I've got the right booster. Went on and was looking for masters. I actually found on my shelf a new rebuilt one off of a Corvette, and it's for 4-wheel disc. I used it when I built the truck, and apparently bought 2 of them. I must have put it in a box somewhere and forgot about it. So this is the one that I originally bought for the truck, and it swelled and did all kinds of nasty shit around the top, so it was junk. And it was a Wildwood copy. Other than the lid, it was fine. But here was a brand new rebuilt. Problem is, it doesn't have a lot of volume. It would probably work, but when I look at it, it looks just like Corvette. So yesterday I got on the internet and just started punching in numbers and seeing what would, come up. So I crossed over a number to a Cardone 10-1745, and it popped up this exact shape. It looks right. So I found one on Amazon, believe it or not. I went ahead and ordered it because apparently it's been sitting on a shelf somewhere, and they had 68% off. It was like $25. So I bought it, went on and eBay, now searching that number, found another one, same picture. So I emailed the guy and asked him for a picture of the exact one. Well, it's different. So he used a stock photo, which looks different than what he actually has. Then I found another one. It looked right. I'm like, again, it was $26. You can tell that they're getting rid of some stuff that's probably been sitting on a shelf for a while. So I ordered it. Well, this morning it got canceled because they said it was lost or stolen or whatever. So I'm back down to, I got one coming. We're going to see. Worst case, I'll just order a replacement for this. It's kind of rounded at the back because they want $350 to rebuild one of these. I'm just not doing it. It's breaks. I'll put that Corvette one on there before I do anything. And again, it's not the money. It is a little bit, but it's just getting one that looks right. That's kind of what I was after. So anyway, going to re-epoxy this. I got to epoxy some of these pieces. I got to go in. I'm just going to order a new Pro valve because I actually had one. It might have been in here. Yeah. I had one. Everything lines up. It's exactly the same. This one's for a disc drum car, though. You can tell the difference. The disc drum has this little poker outer valve reset thing here at the back. Don't know what that would be called. On the disc, it don't have it. That one's actually, I thought it had a number on it. PV2. That's actually for the drum disc. If you get the one without the little rubber thing on the end and the slidey valve part that pokes out, they all got the valve in it. But I think it's a PV72. Depends on whose part number you get. Jegs makes them now. Summit makes them. They're $50 and they'll work. Again, I emailed a guy about rebuilding this. Never heard back from him. This one's rusted shut. If I knew how to get, you've got the little inverted flare in here, right in there. If I knew how to get that out, I would probably pull this thing apart, resand it all, put some O-rings in it, stick it back together. It would probably be fine. I just don't have the tool. I've never taken one apart. If you have, let me know. But that's the reason, just to get rid of that. I wanted it for the originality look, but sometimes you gotta go on. Another thing I'm looking for, I found these. They were nasty, rusty as hell. And, but they don't have the plastic things that slide on the end. So I found them. It looks like Ames has them. They're $4 or $5 a piece. And there may be one close down at either O'Reilly's or Advance. I got to run to town tonight, so I'm going to stop. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't make the trip. Because you only need 1, 2, 3 of those. Yeah, apparently you only need 3 of those. $12, big deal. So while I'm kind of waiting on that, my gas line still not come. So I'm kind of waiting on the tank. It kind of becomes this waiting process now. So I'm going to start tearing apart a couple of the smaller things, which would be like this. That's the inside of the heater box. This one is actually plastic. It either came out of the 79 or 80. It looks exactly like that one. But this old metal one, I'm thinking that's the one that actually came out of the car, but it's pretty toasted. Like I say, everything just was rusty as hell. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use this plastic one. I got to start swapping over some internals. I've got broken bolts and studs missing. It's kind of like take 2, make 1 good one. I'm going to have to order a heater core. And then the next thing we're going to do, I mean, I'll take some pictures as I take that apart, because it's always good for reference, especially since I've got an original one, because there's little ground straps and things. That'll help with that. And then the next thing I'll do is the wiper motor. They're both toast. I've got 2 or 3 upstairs. Again, I'll go through them and build whatever, takes 3 to build one, I'll do that. Sometimes, because I was on Ames last night, and they actually had the washer pump part of it, and they're like $30. Well, before I even start messing with that, I'm just going to buy one of those. That, I think that's kind of that whole mechanism right there. And it's actually got the little cover. I mean, they were pretty freaking cheap. Those just bolt on. But the motor and stuff, I'll have to hook up the voltage to them and get them working right. This is not a pulse. This one is just a on-off, so we'll be fine there. So anyway, that's the plan. Everything was pretty much done on the car. So I thought, while I'm waiting on the gas tank, we'll do that stuff and just start knocking out some of the little things. That's it. That's it. I mean, other than personally, it's been a pretty shitty week leading up to Christmas. Maybe we'll get into all that again someday. I keep hinting about it, but ongoing stuff. And then, of course, some guy just posted a deal about the area I live. Don't look at your property taxes till after Christmas because they went up 30%. Well, look, they went up 20% last year. So sitting here with just a retirement income and working on cars, you're kind of like, what the fuck? Time to load up, sell everything, just move to an island somewhere. But may happen. Who knows? Anyway, enough complaining from me. We're all dealing with it, so that's that. Of course, you can always get to the point where you get that one little straw that broke the camel's back, and then you're done. So anyway, back to working on the car. Those are the pieces we're going to work on. And got any questions? Shoot me the messages, and we'll go from there. One of the other things I'm going to pull down is the seats, because that takes time. I got to start pulling parts and pieces together, but one at a time. I'm going to work on these first. I'll get them cleaned up like I had all the other pieces clean. Then they're ready to go. So that's it. Till next time.